Hi, Greg Clarke from the Centre for Public Christianity. It's been a couple of years now since the book The God Delusion hit the shelves. Its author, Professor Richard Dawkins from Oxford, has become a worldwide celebrity. The book is a witty, aggressive and in many ways unfair attack on belief in God. It pulls together awful anecdotes and partial arguments that make the reader feel disgusted with religion and then seeks to convince them that because they feel disgusted, religion cannot be true. Well, over the last year I've been discussing this book with religious believers, atheists and agnostics alike, and one theme keeps re-emerging. People keep asking, why is Richard Dawkins so angry? Some people are interested in Dawkins' views on philosophy and science, but most people I know react to the book by saying, wow, Dawkins is a real brawler. He really hates religious people. He's so angry. Why is he so mad? Of course, I have no idea why he's so mad, but if you'll let me play amateur psychologist for a while, here's my diagnosis. First up, he's said himself that what drives him is his desire to protect children. He hates the way children are put in a religious box from the beginning. He says that the sound of the phrase, I'm a Muslim child or I'm a Christian child, is to him like fingernails grating down a blackboard. Well, I sympathise with this. Parents have to be very careful that they are educating their children in how to think about what is true and not merely indoctrinating them. But I think Dawkins underestimates the ability of children to think for themselves. After all, he came from a Christian home but had decided it wasn't true by age 9. Second point, Dawkins ferociously rejects the notion that a person who doesn't believe in God is a worse person than someone who does. He uses plenty of stories of hypocrisy where religious people have failed badly and covered it up or denied it. And these stories really do make the reader, including me, feel disinclined towards faith. What a bunch of hypocrites. Again, I agree with him. There are good atheists and bad Christians. But I don't know any Christians who want to lord it over others as if they are better than them. If they do, they haven't been reading their Bibles where it says that people who think they have no sin are deceiving themselves. There's no hubris in being a Christian, just thankfulness to God that he pardons those of us who fail. My third point of analysis, and here's where I feel a bit mean, is that Dawkins really seems to enjoy being the bulldog. He loves to attack. He's fiercely intelligent and I dare say comes across as a bit elitist. The last chapter of The God Delusion contains a good deal of ridicule for people who think that God fills a much needed gap, as he quotes. Dawkins just comes across as a bit of a smarty pants, too clever by half. And he tends to suggest that religious belief is a simpleton's path. It's uninformed by reason or science or intelligence at all. His sense of superiority is certainly unfounded when it comes to philosophy of religion or theology or history. Dawkins speaks in these areas as if he knows what he's talking about, whereas the experts in these areas are by and large roundly rejecting his assertions. My final amateur psychological analysis of this new atheist, Richard Dawkins, is again a risky one. Does Dawkins feel the weight of his claim that there is almost certainly no God? He seems to find the idea liberating. However, most of the great minds and writers of the past few hundred years found the idea of atheism terrifying, depressing, and a cause of dread. If you're familiar with the novels of Albert Camus, the great French existentialist, who wondered what a moral life would be without a divine perspective on it. Or the bleak comic plays of Samuel Beckett, in which God is absent but longed for. Or the intense struggle in the novels of the magnificent Russian writer Dostoevsky, as his characters entertain the idea that the universe is empty of love and justice and goodness. If you've thought about these writers, then you'll know what it's like to think there is no God. It's a thought which controls all other thoughts. But in Dawkins' books, there is no sense of crisis about this. He finds atheism liberating and refreshing. Perhaps you do too. Or perhaps, like me, you aren't satisfied with that. It doesn't seem right to you. And you want to continue on the quest to see whether there is a God worth believing in. Because what more important thing could you think about?